welcome back. Thanks so much for joining in again on my journal. This is journal number 3. Today is August 9th. Not that that's super important, but it's August 9th. Thank you so much to the ones who have subscribed to my channel, for the likes that have been given to my videos. Thank you so much. It's so appreciated, and it just fills my heart, you know, because I know that at the beginning I knew I was talking to someone, but now that you see the subscribers, it's like I know I'm talking to you, you know, and I know I'm talking to someone for sure. So that's really awesome. So thank you for that. If you're new here, my name is Kim. This is just a journal where I'm sharing, not keeping, but sharing with you guys the projects that I'm doing, what I'm working on, my interests, my hobbies. I go more into detail on that in my video, on my first video, so if you want to check that out. Today I wanted to ask you guys, before I get started, because I like to ask, how was your guys' week? I hope you guys had a very good week last week. We had a pretty good week, you know, not pretty good. I want to say it was good. We had a very important day for us that we tend to go out and celebrate. So before that though, I did want to mention just, not that I'm doing baby updates by any means, but because I have talked about baby girl in my other videos, just my update on my appointment, because I was worried that I might have some sciatica pain going on, but thankfully it is just more of growing pains because she's growing and everything's stretching and just part of pregnancy. So my back, it's mostly just been on my right side, so my back sometimes just kind of gives me that shooting pain. But I have found that by keeping active and moving around throughout the day, but keeping it balanced, not too much but not too little, it helps greatly. And then of course pillows at night for bedtime, it's been helping tremendously to kind of lessen that. So that's good. And then the only other difference that I've noticed here recently, maybe in the last couple of days, is that I feel that I'm out of breath more, or I'm yeah, she's just kind of moving up in there because she's growing. So that's about it though. Everything else has been good, thankfully. Yeah, and I think I will be about 33 weeks this week. I always forget. I always have to think about it, but I'm pretty sure it's 33 weeks. So we're getting closer. The other thing that happened last week that is the important thing is that 18 years ago I met my husband. So we always tend to have a little something that day and just remember the day that we met and go down memory lane and just celebrate it with our boys now. And it's just really nice. It's just a nice day to kind of have as family time, because it's when we met, and then, you know, then we get married and there'll be another one. But yeah, so that was really nice to do that. We went out to eat, you know, we had a day of things to do. And then of course, it's not that it was my favorite part, but we did go out to eat. And since I'm usually pretty hungry nowadays, it's like, oh, that was like one of the highlights, was eating. So yes, that was a great thing. So yeah, that was our week, besides the normal usual stuff that happens, you know, work and house stuff and, you know. So I wanted to start off this video before I talk about my finished projects and all that, just kind of like with a little background of our business, because I've kind of briefly mentioned it, but not really. So just a quick overview without taking too long. We started in 2018. You'll hear me say a lot like we instead of I, just because my family is a huge part of this business. My husband's very supportive, very involved. Our kids are involved in certain ways. So it is a family-owned business. I look at it that way. So I say we a lot because I'm talking about us. And right, so moving on, I wanted to say that because I tend to do that a lot. We. It's not that I have employees or anything at the moment. I mean, who knows, maybe one day, but it is me talking about my family. So we started in 2018 as a store that combined interests. My husband's interests are board games. Mine is obviously yarn. And that, I mean, it all went well. I don't want to go, I'm going to try to make it super short. Everything was going well. It was located in the main city here in Alaska, which is Anchorage. We were hoping to move out closer to where we lived, which is in the valley. Of course, that's around, well, we didn't know at the time, but that's just around the time that the pandemic hit. And it just kind of, you know, at that time was, you know, should we not open something? You know, it's a big risk, you know, people are stuck at home. So fast forward, because again, I don't want to take too long. We remained more of an online shop for basically the entire time, because once things started to open up, it was still kind of like an iffy thing. And I'm not going to say that I'm not a person who doesn't take risks. I, you know, evaluate risks, and I kind of see we don't mind taking risks, but at the same time, it's one of those like, we didn't want to have to raise prices too much because we were renting, you know, a lease for a building, and then you have to make rent and then utilities. And at the same time, we didn't want to go into debt by taking out a loan and having to do that or add to the stress of that. So we chose to stay online. But over time, I think of myself, I do love going to yarn stores. I love feeling the yarn, seeing it, feeling it. It's just a little bit different than an online shop. It's not to say that online shops can't work. I think that I would still try again in the future, or who knows, maybe incorporate it back in again. I'm not sure, but so starting this year is where I changed things up and decided, okay, let's just put that on hold, because I would prefer to have an actual storefront where people can come in and check out the yarns and talk about it and all that good stuff that comes with that. And that wasn't really quite happening, so I decided to put that on hold and then focus more on, you know, maybe my handmaids, because like I said, I love making things, and that is my focus now, is handmade items, and then as well as shirt making that has to do with, right now specifically for the craft that I focus on, and then any custom orders that come along is what our main focus is now. So that's kind of like a brief overview. I kind of maybe went a little bit everywhere. Like I said, it's something that I want to still try to do later on, when it's the right time. Maybe I just didn't feel like, you know how you have that feeling. So, but we shall see. And that's kind of how I sort of ended up with a little bit more yarn than I probably would have, but we did, you know, yeah, anyways, so I have this yarn, but I have a purpose for it, or, you know, I do, you know, I'm going to be doing a giveaway, so I do that, because I do share. Is all I'm trying to say, is I do share. So let's start with my finished projects this week. If you've noticed, I have finished the asymmetrical shawl. I'm calling it asymmetrical shawl. I know it has a name, but like I've said before, I just can't pronounce that name, so we're not even going to go there. But I finished the shawl. Very happy with it. I think towards the end there, I wasn't sure if I wanted to continue on and make it longer, because I definitely could have. You could, the pattern was adjustable. It's in her instructions, and you can adjust it any way you want. So I did end up having some yarn left over, so I could have continued on and made it bigger, but I don't know. I just chose not to, and I think that it turned out to be a very good size. Excuse me, okay. Baby girl. That's baby girl. No. And so, what was I going to say? She she derailed my thought here. Right. So I tried it on. No, okay, so I blocked it. This has been washed and blocked. I did not try it on blocked. I just kind of put it on the mannequin here, which reminds me, I need to name my mannequin. She used to have a name that my brother-in-law had said one time, and I can't remember what it was, so I'm just thinking about renaming her. So if you have any names in mind, please feel free to share them with me, and maybe I will pick one from there. So yeah, so I just put the shawl on the mannequin, and it just looks fantastic. I mean, I think it looks good. I am not a pro at wrapping the shawl around or putting it in a way that's going to make it look nice. So hopefully this looks nice. I did my best there. You know, I'll try to get some close-up footage of this and show it and insert it somewhere here. But I really like the lacy part. It was the one, I did have to pay attention on the lacy part because for some reason I could remember what I was doing, but then I'd be like, okay, it was, you know, you're just second guessing yourself. So but I did like the lacy part, and like I said, I could have probably gone just like another time for the rows that the lacy part was, but I chose not to just because I just followed the pattern. So maybe on the next one, maybe I'll probably do this one again and then do maybe 3, depending on the yarn, because this was like fingering, very lightweight yarn. If I were to use this again, I would definitely probably do another set of the lacy part. But this, I think, where I was going with this early, because I got distracted, okay, is that this would definitely fit someone. Like, it fit me, and I'm a large, extra large, more on the extra large though. And this was before I blocked it, and it did go around, not around too much on the front, but the ends did come around. And then wearing it like this way towards the front was perfectly fine, and I was able to wrap it around, and that was without it being blocked. So I'm thinking that this, I mean, it would work for someone like my size, but I think it would be better for someone that's more medium, large, just because it would wrap around a little bit more probably. I mean, but it's all very dependent, you know, everything is just so, and I forgot to measure it before, was supposed to measure it, and I forgot. So I'm going to try to remember to put my final measurements there. She doesn't have hers. I don't think I remember seeing hers on her pattern. So I'm not sure what her final measurements were, but I'm going to put my final measurements just to have on there. And yeah, so that one is done, and it will be most likely on our website in a few days. I'm super behind on taking photos and uploading that, so I need to really work on that. So you could tell I was just knitting. So that's my first one. My second finished project is a hat. This is a double knit hat by, I just remember her first name. It is Kareema. I could not find the paperwork. I had the paperwork. I want to say I had the paperwork up here like just last week, and I feel like then I moved it and now I couldn't find it. So anyways, I will definitely find it though. But her first name was Kareema. I'll link all her info, of course, at the bottom. But it's a double knit hat, so it's, you knit like you would normally knit a hat, but then you, because it's a provisional cast on, and then once you're done knitting the hat from just the normal way, then you start again at the very bottom and you knit the other way, and then you put them together and it becomes a thicker hat, so a warmer hat. And I made it in this color. This is actually for my son. I made it for him because up here it's, well, it's hunting season up here, so you gotta wear orange. But what I didn't know was that they provided some hats because they had to take a course, and so I didn't even have to make this for him, but it doesn't matter. He still has a hat. It's a hat. He can use it for winter time, for whatever. Not even, it doesn't even have to be for that purpose. but at least he'll have something warm. So I used Scheepjes Color Crafter, so the same color as, or I mean the same yarn that I used for the baby blanket that I showed last week. So this is in the color, I was supposed to get the color and I forgot. I wonder, it's down here, so yeah, I want to say, you know, hold on, my kid's here, so I'm just going to ask him, but we'll see if he can call. You want to get me the orange one? And we'll get the color name. But yeah, I like it. I want to make another one for myself just because it is nice and warm. It feels nice and warm. And I don't necessarily, thank you so much. So the color is the Hague, the Hague. Probably mispronouncing it, but like I said, these colors are, I did look it up, and it is cities from the Netherlands. There's just, that's what they named their yarn after. So yeah, that is my other finished project. Moving on to my work in progresses. This one I had started, I didn't start it like last week or anything. I had started it a while ago, but I was searching for the yarn. I wouldn't say searching, that's not the right term, but I was waiting to see if I could find the yarn locally. And I had bought a couple of skeins, which brings me to another point. Skeins. I've been saying skeins this whole time of my just knitting, crocheting part. But I started noticing that others say skeins, right? Skeins. So now I'm unsure if I'm saying it correctly or not. Is it skeins or is it skeins? You know, does it really matter? So let me know what your thoughts are. I meant to look up the word for the pronunciation on Google, and I totally forgot. But yeah, is it skeins or skeins? Skeins? Yeah. So anyways, I had bought two at our local, a different town, not that far away from me, but it was the last two that she had. So I picked them up and I grabbed them, like, awesome, cool, you know, at least I can continue on. Well, then I finished those up and I needed, you know, obviously I need more because I still have to do the sleeves and a little bit of the hem. So I knew our yarn store here in the valley did not have any, and we don't really have a lot of local yarn stores. Excuse me, I'm so sorry, excuse me. I mean, it's not really a burp, it's just more like a hiccup type thing. But there is another one, so I checked them out, but they didn't have it either. And then I went fabric shopping for my daughter's quilts, and I had totally forgotten that they have a small section as well of just some yarn. And so I was able to find the correct color and everything that I needed there. So I was able to get 3 of these skeins. So I was super excited because that just happened recently, and I'm able to get back to working on my sweater. So let me show you guys the sweater. And then I'll tell you guys the name of the yarn. So probably should also tell you the name of the sweater. So this is what I have so far of my sweater. I still have, I think, probably another 1.5 inches of the front hem over here. So I think I have about another 1.5 inches of the front hem. I haven't started on the back hem. And my goal is, of course, to finish this sweater this week, now that I have the yarn. And this sweater is called the Home Sweater V-neck. But she also has, or they also have a Caidree at the top. This is just the instructions there, the first page. And it is by, let's see if it's here at the very beginning. No, it is not. Or maybe that is her name, is Caidree. Yes, that is the designer, is well, at least her Instagram is Caidree. But like I said, I'll have everything also down below, that way I'm not missing anything. And I found this pattern, of course, on Ravelry. I believe. Pretty sure. I tend to find most of my patterns on Ravelry, or sometimes it is the individual website, but most of the time here lately it has been Ravelry. So yes, I'm excited about this. I mean, she uses different yarn, of course, so I chose to go with this yarn, and I'm loving it. This brings me to what I was going to talk about, just another thing that I was going to talk about, because I have been known not to gauge. I kind of skipped that step. I'm going to be totally honest. I have skipped it for a very long time because my thought at that time is just, it's just extra time, extra work. Why? I'll just kind of figure it out as I go. But now that I'm in this very learning mode and just wanting to learn things and just really start doing things exactly the way it should be done, I have, well, I just started to gauge. I went to the store and I bought, not that I needed to buy this, but I did get a swatch gauge ruler thing to kind of help out. So I did get one of these. I picked one of these because that's the other thing of when you don't gauge, you're not getting the correct amount of yarn, and then you're going to end up being like me, who has to wait for the yarn because you didn't buy the appropriate amount of yarn, and or if you're using a different type of yarn than the one that they're using, it kind of helps, from what I've gathered, to kind of figure out how much yarn you're going to use and just if it's even going to work. You know, just I'm still kind of learning the whole gauging system. I should have known already, but you know, like I said, I've just kind of been skipping it. And I don't want to do that anymore because I am getting more into, I mean, I think that maybe when you just work on hats or, okay, that I shouldn't say that, because no, you should probably gauge all the time. Which also reminds me, that kind of goes with the whole blocking. I used to not block the things that I made, but I started blocking probably 3-4 years ago. I'd have to look back because I think I mentioned it one time on my Instagram, on an Instagram post that I had posted a while ago. So I would have to go back and see when that was. But that was around the time that I started blocking, and I had not blocked before. Didn't think it was really needed, but oh my goodness, no, it is needed. It changes the way your item looks. It doesn't even matter if it's a hat or if it's a scarf or something small. It is just so much better if you block it. If you don't know what blocking is, there's different types of blocking. There's steam blocking, there's wet blocking, there's, I think, one more kind of blocking, but there's something. I want to say there's another one. And the one I tend to do the most is where I just wash the item. You know, if it's wool, I'm washing it with a wool detergent. You don't need that much. If it's something that's using acrylic, I just use like the tiniest amount of laundry detergent, like the most tiniest amount, just enough to kind of lather it up a little bit. And then you lay it out and kind of fix it up. You can pin it, like for shawls, I pin it kind of in the shape that it's supposed to be, and that just helps, you know, for the person, whoever's going to look at it, to see like the details. So in this example, the lace, you're able to see the lace details a lot more clearer and better because I blocked it. Had I not blocked it, it might have looked a little bit more scrunched up because that's just how it comes out when you knit it. So this is, yeah, just blocking. It does wonders for what you make, and I definitely now recommend it. I used to, well, one, I didn't know about it back then, so I had learned about it, you know, through Instagram, most likely, because I had seen someone, I don't even remember who, but the whole point is, if you haven't tried it, it makes a huge difference. Like I haven't blocked this hat, which I need to still do. And before with hats, I was just kind of blocking them by, you know, washing them and then laying it flat. But I just saw a video that said they use a balloon, which I hadn't even thought about. I'm like, of course you can use a balloon, because, you know, if you don't have a head mannequin thing, you know, the balloon apparently does the purpose. So that was good to know. And I'm just like, oh, I should try that. So I'm going to try that with this hat and see how it goes. And I can kind of report back. But yeah, let me know if you guys have been blocking and or gauging, because even though, like I said, I used to think, oh no, blocking's not necessary. Well, I didn't know about it, but even after I started blocking, I'm like, oh, well, I don't need to block everything. I just need to block this. But no, now I just block everything because now I see why it's being done. So I'm thinking that's going to be the same thing for gauging. I think I'm going to have the same, like, oh, I probably should have been doing this. Why have I been skipping this? You know, so yeah. And there's other things too that I was going to bring up, because like for this sweater, the color is, I love the color, but the other thing that I have also been learning is that, especially with individually dyed, well, these aren't individually dyed, but you know, they're coming from, it's not like a, I hope you know what I'm talking about. It's just the dyed yarn, right? That's not, it is a pretty big, because this is Malabrigo, so I'm sure they're big, but, and from what I hear, this is more of a teapot, like they dye it with a tea or something like that. I forgot. I kind of had read something. So there's no lot numbers because it's just always going to come out different. So the point I'm trying to make there is that I started learning that you should definitely look at your, you know, like unfold the skein and look at the yarn, because what can happen is, since the colors are different, you want to make sure you're starting at a good end. Because what I noticed on one of, I'm not sure if you can see here, but you see how there's like white, or it's just a way lighter color. I should have, I gotta see because I should have probably started in a different, you know, like I started a different skein here, but I should have probably started with a dark purple instead of this, the lighter blue. It's not white, it's like a very light blue. But I hope that makes sense. Like I should have looked at the skein and been like, oh, well, I don't want it to look too light there. You know, there's like a big block of light. I just hope that makes sense. So I'm not too worried about it. This is for me, so I'm okay with it, but I do wish that I would have looked at that and kind of compared it and been like, oh, okay, no, let's start on this end of the skein so it's a darker color and it's not this huge, you know. But it's okay, you know, it's a learning thing. And even though like I've been doing this for a really long time, there's just still things that I'm learning, you know. It's just, I'm still learning, so it's okay, you know. And I'm taking those things in and I'm making sure I use what I'm learning. So yeah, so this week I'm going to work on this and try to finish it. That is my goal. We'll see if I succeed. And the color, the name of the color, so it's Malabrigo Rios, and the color is Wales Road. So pretty. It's just got blues, purples, and that's pretty much it. It's definitely like my kind of colors. So yes, so that is my work in progress that I will be starting today, because I was working on that one, but you know, now that's not a work in progress. So I have another work in progress because I wanted to do something simple, just quick, you know, because once you, at least for me, when you work on something super big or something time consuming, it's just nice to do something that's a little bit quicker and you don't really have to think about it. So I started a hat, because that is one of the quick projects that you can do, is start a hat. And this is going to be a kid hat. And I'm liking how, of course I like everything. I'm liking how it's turning out. The colors are, you know, coming out fantastic. This is, oh no, of course I forgot to get the, but I can see it from here, kind of. So I'm using a Scheepjes yarn, and it's Scheepjes Wanderlust. So it's the Wanderlust line, which I don't even know if they're still continuing that line. I'll have to make sure. And it is in the color Havana. So it just automatically is already, the colors transition by themselves. So it's like a gold color, then a light brown to dark brown to purple, and then there's a little bit of pink in there. I don't know if you can kind of tell. So there's that. So that's what I'm using, and I'm just making this hat. Almost got like another 1.5 inches, maybe 2, before I get to the crown decreases and all that. So just a quick little project, because I just like to feel like, oh wow, I'm, you know, almost like I started this and I'm almost done. So yeah, that one is that. Oh, and the pattern for this one is from Purl Soho. It is on their website. It's a free pattern. It's just a hat. It's just like a normal hat. And yeah, I decided to do that one. I haven't tried out her the pattern before, so I figured I'd try it, because if it's just, I need to make another hat for my other son to have for the winter time. So, you know, like usually every year I'm making them a new hat, just so it's different. And they still use whatever they might have, but eventually, you know, things get old or used, and then it just kind of helps. It just works here. That is the only work in progresses that I have. I did want to talk about this. Kind of is going to go back into the gauge thing, because I am going to be starting another one, because once I finish the hat, then I want to start. I got the Weekender pattern, the Weekender sweater pattern by Andrea Mowry. I'm not sure if you guys have seen this pattern before or have heard of it. It's a pretty, I would think, a known pattern. Is that even in? Okay, I couldn't. Yeah, it's a pretty known pattern, I think. There's a lot of posts about it on Instagram. So this is my first pattern from her, and I just recently started making sweaters. I've done probably like, I don't know, maybe a total of 4 or maybe 3 sweaters. I've done a vest, and it's all just been, you know, me just kind of learning as I go. So I'm not really like sweater, you know, expert here. And since I'm starting to gauge now, I was looking at her instructions, you know, because I do that, where I try to read everything that they say. And I just, if you've done this sweater, you've got to let me know, because this is where I've been hung up for a little bit, is the whole gauging, okay? Because she has like 3 different sizes. You know, she's got the tubular cast on, which uses 1 set of knitting needle size. Then she's got the ribbing, and then she's got the main body, and those each have their own size for the needles. So my question is, am I gauging on just, like, do I have to make a gauge for each of those sizes, or am I doing the cast on and then I get the next size up and then do my ribbing for a few rows and then change my needles again and then do the main body for the, you know, for the 4 inches that it says here? Or am I just doing the main body gauge? I've been trying to look this up. I went to the Ravelry forum group, and I mean, there's some questions there, but it's not like the specific question that I need to have answered. And I probably should have typed something in there, but it was really late yesterday. I probably should have done it more in the daytime where I would actually write about it. But I thought, now that I'm here, I'll ask you guys and see if you guys know, because that's my only thing, and I'm really wanting to get this gauge thing. You know, I want to do a good. I did start, but I haven't like washed it or blocked it or even cast it off, because if I'm gonna have to rip this back up, because I'm not sure if this is just, I did the cast on in the needle size it was supposed to be, and then the rest is all with the specific needle size that she has on there for the ribbing. So this is technically like the ribbing, right? But then this is when I started thinking about it, and I'm like, oh my goodness, but wait, what if I'm supposed to, like, is this my gauge? Or was I supposed to include some rows of the main body with the specific needle size that she has on there. So that's just kind of how I'm thinking right now, and I'm not sure. And if you know, please let me know. And if not, then I'm really gonna have to ask or something, or figure, you know, keep researching, because I don't want to take this, I don't want to cast off until I'm completely sure. We'll see what happens, because I do want to start the sweater and have it done, so we'll see what happens. But okay, enough about that. We're just gonna, because I saw that the time was a little bit more than I usually have done. So the other thing that I did want to mention that I've seen on Instagram is that if you don't follow her already, it's Hohi Knits. Is it Hohi Knits? I was going to say, let me look it up, but I'm using my phone. She also has, it's Hohi and Company, where she does bags too. Anyways, she has a fall knit along, and that starts in August 15th. Or the sign up is in August 15th. I think it starts in September though. I already forgot. I shouldn't have forgotten that. But I know that there was a sign up August 15th, just to kind of join and do all that. And I'm thinking about doing that. I think it would be great to, I have one of her patterns that I've been meaning to make. It's also a sweater. And I've just kind of been saving it because, again, it's not that I'm an expert on sweaters yet, so I think this will be a good time to get her pattern going. And I think there's not necessarily a time limit, but there is like a time limit for them for the whole group thing and the knit along. I think you have 3 months to do it, and so I think that's perfect. It's going to start in fall, 3 months to do that. I think hopefully that will give me enough time, because I know I'll have a baby, so I'm just thinking, oh, should I even start this? But I think it will be so much fun to do that. And I need to also link my Ravelry. I have not done that. I've been trying to update it because I've had it for so long too, but I haven't really been as active there as probably I could be. So I'm trying to kind of just update things and put pictures of the things I've done. But yes, I will have that there. And I thought I just wanted to let you guys know, so you guys know about it and go check it out. See if it's something that you want to do. Look at her patterns. Her patterns are really awesome too. She's got a ton of patterns. So I'm excited about that, because I think I am going to do that for the pattern that, because you can pick any pattern of hers. It doesn't have to be a sweater. It could be a cowl. It could be, I think she has the, what you can do, but it doesn't have to be a sweater. It could be a shawl. So that's coming up, and I'm excited about that. So yeah. So I'm just going to end it here. I hope you guys have a fantastic week this week. And yeah, I hope you have a great week, and I will see you on the next one. I forgot to talk about the giveaway. I was planning on giving away 4 katonas, 4 Scheepjes katonas. So if you like to work with cotton, this is 100% mercerized cotton. Really good for amigurumi dolls, anything that you might use cotton yarn, so washcloths or something else, I'm not sure. I know that a lot has been used for amigurumi dolls. This is the yarn that I used for the granny fanny pack that I did not talk about today because it's not done, which we'll talk about next week. So yes, I'm planning on giving away 4. I have several colors, as you can tell. So whoever is the winner can choose the colors I have, or you know, I don't want to, or I can choose for you, whichever one, it'll be 4. So I have several colors, like I said, and it doesn't have to be this one. It was just an example that I was showing. So yes, all you have to do to enter is just like this video and leave a comment of your favorite project this year, maybe. I wouldn't want to say lifetime, because I mean, let's be real, there's so many favorite projects. I know I would not be able to mention one favorite, like sole favorite one. So let's go with what has been your favorite project this year. So leave that comment below and you'll be entered to win. And this is just for here on YouTube. This is not a giveaway that's going to be on any other, I don't even really have Instagram and Facebook, so it is just for here. So don't forget to enter and we'll go from there. So yes, okay, I'm glad I remembered that, because that would have been just awkward having to totally, yeah, not have it in the video. So, all right, we'll talk to you later.